everybody, and all my Carlos Pacheco friends. I wanted to read a story to you all. It's called The Leprechaun in the Basement. I figured it was a good story to follow Miss Ferrera's story for St. Patrick's Day. I wanted to let you all know that I miss you all already, and we can't wait to get back to school to see everybody. So like I said, the story is called The Leprechaun in the Basement. O'Leary was a leprechaun. A long time ago, he had come from Ireland, stowed in a truck. Now, he lived in the basement of a house in Chicago. He led a quiet life. Sometimes he read the newspapers in the recycling bin. Most of the time, he just sat by his pot of gold coins, polishing them. He loved his gold. Still, once in a while, he felt a little bored. He thought that when he lived in Ireland, he used to do something else, but he couldn't remember what. Perhaps I'm just getting old, he would say to himself, for although leprechauns never die, they do get older. Michael McKeever was the boy who lived in that house, though he didn't know O'Leary was there. It was St. Patrick's Day. That meant it was almost spring, almost time for baseball season to begin. Michael pulled his last year's baseball shoes from under the bed. He tried them on. His big toes jammed against the ends. The soles had begun to peel away. Michael's heart sank. He couldn't play ball in these shoes, but how could he ask his mom and dad for new ones? So his shoes are all old and they're breaking. For the McKeevers were down on their luck. Michael's dad had lost his job at the computer company, and Michael's mom said they had to make do. Every day, Mr. McKeever searched for another job. At night, he came home looking sad, and he plunked himself in front of the TV. He never said, "Hey, Mike, let's go out and throw a few," the way he used to. "Michael," his mother called, "could you get my big pot? It's in the basement by the recycling bin." "Sure, Mom." His mother was making her special St. Patrick's Day dinner, corned beef with potatoes and cabbage. Is anybody having that for dinner tonight? Because I am, because I'm Irish, but I don't really like it very much. Michael trudged down into the basement. As he neared the washing machine, he heard a strange noise. Someone was singing. When Irish eyes are smiling, sure it's like a morn in spring. In the lilt of Irish laughter, you can hear the angels sing. Michael peeked around the furnace. There, in the recycling bin, was a tiny, old man. He jumped up and stared at Michael. Michael blinked. The little man looked exactly like the pictures of the wee folk he'd seen in a book about Ireland. "Are you a leprechaun?" he asked. O'Leary scowled. He had a bit of a temper. "Well, I'm not from outer space." Michael pointed to a bowl with something sparkling in it. "What's that?" he asked. My gold, of course." "Michael, I'm waiting," his mother called. "Coming, Mom." Michael grabbed his mother's pot. "I'll be back," he whispered to the leprechaun. "I was afraid of that," muttered O'Leary, because suddenly he knew his life would never be the same again. At supper, Michael's dad just picked at his corned beef and cabbage. Michael could hardly eat either. He couldn't wait to talk to the leprechaun again. But after the dishes were washed, his father went down to the basement to check on the hot water tank, and there was no chance. In bed, Michael couldn't sleep. A leprechaun with a pot of gold? Why, that gold could buy all sorts of things. The hot water tank wasn't working right. His mom's bike was broken, and he needed new baseball shoes. He had to have new baseball shoes. A leprechaun in the basement? Maybe their luck was going to change. O'Leary was awake too. He had always liked to sing an Irish song on St. Patrick's Day, but he could see that he had been very foolish. Now, a human being knew where he was. Now there would be trouble, for humans wanted just one thing from leprechauns. They wanted gold. The next day, Michael raced home from school. His folks weren't home yet, so the coast was clear. The leprechaun was waiting. "Listen," said Michael, "my dad lost his job, and the hot water tank isn't working, and my mom's bike is broken, and I need baseball shoes." He held out his old shoes. "No, too bad," said O'Leary. "But what am I supposed to do?" "Well, you could give us some gold." O'Leary sighed. "Well, could you give up playing baseball?" Michael shook his head. "No way, I love baseball." "You're a smart lad. Then you understand why leprechauns cannot give up their gold." "But that doesn't make sense. You have so much." "Some things don't make sense," said O'Leary, "and still, they are true." "Leprechauns are supposed to be lucky," Michael protested. "I don't know about luck," said O'Leary, his voice rising, "but you're not getting one gold coin." "You're a selfish leprechaun," Michael said angrily. O'Leary stomped his foot. "And you are a greedy human being." Michael went upstairs. His father was coming in the door. "Dad, why are we so unlucky?" he blurted out. He wasn't supposed to worry his father, but he couldn't help it. He almost felt like crying because of that leprechaun. His father stared at him. "I guess you must think you're unlucky with such a sad dad." He put his arm around his son. "Listen, when I woke up today, I had the strongest feeling our luck is going to change. It doesn't make sense, but it's true. I know we McKeevers are going to be okay. Now let's go out and throw a few." Like magic, Michael's spirits lifted. He ran to get his ball. That night in bed, Michael thought about what the leprechaun had said. He didn't want to be a greedy human. Maybe he could tape up the soles, and he reached under the bed for his shoes. Then he remembered he had left them in the basement. In the basement, O'Leary paced back and forth. Was he a selfish leprechaun? He stared at the baseball shoes. The soles were made of the cheapest leather. He looked for the shoemaker's name, but there was only a tag too worn to read. "Sure, I could have made a better shoe myself," he thought. "Why, I was the best shoemaker in County Cork." And that was how O'Leary remembered what he used to do in Ireland. So see here how it says O'Leary's shoe repair? So he used to repair shoes in Ireland. That's what he used to do, the leprechaun. The next morning, when Michael McKeever stretched in bed, he felt something heavy on his legs. He sat up. There on the blanket was the most beautiful pair of baseball shoes he had ever seen. They were green, with excellent thick soles and good gripping spikes. On the toes were tiny gold shamrocks. And of course, they were lucky. I miss you too, Miss Rodriguez. So he ended up getting his wish come true, right? He ended up getting the baseball shoes that he was looking for. So what I want you guys to try and do is I'm going to attach a little picture to the bottom of this live so that you can look at it again. But what I'm going to want you to try and do is, what if you ran into a leprechaun? What if you were walking on the street today and you saw a leprechaun? Or if you went into go to sit on your couch today and there was a leprechaun sitting there? What 3 wishes might you make? What are 3 things that you might wish for? And why would you wish for those things? So if you can maybe write about that for me and you can give it to me when we go back to school, maybe I can give you some punches on your punch card. So it was fun reading to you all. Like I said, I miss you all and I'll see you all soon. Bye.